I, 31, recently had my cousin, 21, move in with me after he got kicked out of his college dorm and had no job to pay for rent. My parents told me I needed to step up and help because I own a house, live alone with my 2 golden retrievers and 2 birds that I had since last year. My cousin would make fun of me whenever I call my pets family and thinks I'm crazy. He has a bad sense of humor and thinks he's funny. He calls me funny nicknames like Robot or Terminator or Optimus Prime and others because I wear a prosthetic leg that I've gotten after I had an infection 2 years ago. I have been patient with him causing a mess and not even doing his own laundry. It's been 3 months and it's too much already. So recently he started doing pranks and using personal things in his pranks. Like clothes or my phone or stuff from the kitchen, etc. I usually take off my prosthesis before going to bed, and since I work all day I go to bed early. Unlike him, he stays up till 3 or 4 am. He decided to do a prank and hid my prosthesis somewhere. I saw that it was gone in the morning. He did it twice before and hid it in his room and the garage. I had enough of his crap. I asked him where he took it and he joked and said that it was inside the fridge. I was livid. I started screaming at him to stop it and to tell me where my prosthesis was before I kick him out. He realized I was being serious and told me that it was in the attic. I let him go get it, and when he brought it to me, he looked worried and started apologizing. When I saw the socket had cracks, the adjustment pyramid and pylon were damaged. He told me he hid it under the old TV and didn't think it was this fragile. It was there overnight, so the damage has already been done. I lost my crap. I yelled at him while all he did was apologize, saying it was just a prank bro, which made it worse. I told him to leave and called my aunt to tell her about what her son did and that she needed to pay for the damages. Her reaction was shocking. She said that it was my fault because I knew how her son is and decided to take him in anyway, and that she won't take responsibility for his actions. I told her I'd seriously sue because I'm broke and have no money to pay for a prosthesis and crutches are unbearable. I was so angry. I kept lashing out at everyone. Especially my mom and dad, who argued with me and said that I can't sue family and this is my cousin and he meant no harm. I told them that he created this situation and needed to fix it. They called me awful for refusing to wait till Christmas is over and family gathering is over, then they'll figure something out. I told them to stay out of it, but until now they're telling me to not cause an issue. We're in the holidays and suing my cousin will make them look bad to everyone. I'm stuck here with crutches, feeling awful after they all tried to shut me up and told me to wait till holidays are over, then they'll raise money for me and my cousin gets away with it. Edit. My dad offered to fix it himself, but this is ridiculous. He thinks that this is some object like a CD player or a TV he can fix. I called him ridiculous to his face and I didn't let him touch it. He clearly thinks it's no big deal. I stopped taking his calls after that because he doesn't realize how big of an issue this is. Not the idiot. Obviously, he's terrible. But if you sue him, would you even get any money? You said he's broke. You'll only get paid if there is money to be had, and you can't sue his parents because he's an adult and they had nothing to do with it. Definitely kick him the hell out and ask your family to help you buy a new one, as they mentioned. To maximize your chances of getting the money from them, I would recommend being low-key about it. Patching more flies with honey, etc. Edit to add. If it were me, that guy would be dead to me. I'd pretend he doesn't even exist. Don't get dragged into a big argument or anything. Not the idiot. He is utterly reprehensible. He's the one in need and proceeds to not only take advantage, but mock you and make your life more difficult. He's shown that family doesn't mean anything to him, so show that the word has no meaning when you've been treated like this, because it really doesn't. Evict him, check your options and do it legally, and sue him for damages. Might even be able to get in something like emotional distress. He's 21, an adult in every sense of the word. Time he faced actually consequences for his actions, as clearly his parents are utterly useless. Not the idiot. I'm pretty horrified that his idea of a prank is putting a family member at a physical disadvantage by stealing their bloody leg at all. That's really not that funny, even if he hadn't broken it. Clearly, his sense of humor and moral compass are skewed. He needs to pay up for a new prosthesis, and your family needs to nut up and stop enabling this idiot by letting things slide. They're not doing anyone any favors. You're down the leg, they're going to be out of pocket, and he, quite unfortunately, probably still thinks he's funny. Everyone loses. When I, 36, and my husband, 37, got married 3 years ago, we decided I would move into his house and keep my condo. While we were dating, we spent time equally between both places. My unit was closer to downtown, and attractions in our city, and his house was farther away from everything but much larger and in a quiet neighborhood. Since my place was nearly paid off and the mortgage is very inexpensive, I bought right out of college before the area was as nice as it is now. We decided it would make sense to use it for out-of-town guests, parties, or when we were too tired to drive home after a night out. Last month, his sister, 28, asked if she and her girlfriend could come for 4th of July weekend and stay at the condo. We agreed. She would drive in from their hometown that Thursday and stay until Monday. Last week, she slipped up and mentioned that she would be having a pride event at my place. At first, she tried to backtrack and say she would be attending one, then admitted that she was planning on using my place to throw the party for about 20 people from a Facebook group. I told her absolutely not, and that she and her girlfriend could stay but no party. We're still in a pandemic and I don't care if things are opening. My home is not. She called me a hypocrite since my husband and I use it for parties. He and I still refused, so she threw a tantrum and called us bad people, cancelled the event, and made a post on Facebook about us insinuating, but not staring directly, that we reneged because it was a pride event, which isn't remotely true. My mother-in-law called to find out what was happening, and apparently, my sister-in-law is keeping up a story that we were being that. I called her and told her to find somewhere else to stay, so of course she got even more irate and made more insulting posts on Facebook about us, saying that she's basically homeless for the weekend and that it's not safe for them to stay at a hotel. I'm not budging, but my husband is trying to keep the peace and saying we should still let her stay. Sister-in-law and I usually have a very great relationship, so I'm not sure why she's acting so ugly about it. Am I the idiot for reneging on allowing her to stay in my empty condo? Not the idiot. Someone else throwing a party at your house, whether or not it is in the middle of a pandemic, is not remotely the same as you throw your own party. I'd absolutely deny use of it. Why the hell would you lend out your second home to someone who is publicly bashing you for not letting them use your home as a party pad? If you let her stay, there's a good chance she'll still host the event. And if she's as much of a petty idiot as she sounds, she could leave the place trashed. Not the idiot. And frankly, sister-in-law is. There is no way me and my girlfriend can automatically extend to having a party, any party, in your condo. And she only has to be homeless on 4th of July weekend because she falsely called you that. I see how your husband may feel trapped in the middle, so just make this a you thing and not an us thing. Dig in your heels. Eventually, sister-in-law may learn you're a reasonable person, or maybe sister-in-law is going to turn out to be someone who uses people a lot. I hate when people try to use lies, leveraging false claims of discrimination to get their way. What your sister-in-law is doing is so toxic, it's actually illegal and called slander. You should contact a lawyer and have them draft a cease and desist letter. Her lies about you and your husband could destroy your reputation in business or professional life. Do take it seriously. It's more than just Facebook posts. You could lose work, friendships, and your standing in the community over this. Not the idiot. My sister and I are around the same age. I, 25, and she, 22, never really got along. From a young age, it was clear that she was the favorite child. She got everything she asked for and more. I think it made her entitled and spoiled. I am currently going to college and live on my own in a small 2-room apartment. I won some money a while back and work besides studying, so I am pretty well off. I am not home most of time. My sister and her kids still live with our parents. She doesn't go to work since she's a single mom. Now she decided she wants to go back to college, which I genuinely support in the city I live. It's a 5-hour drive from our parents' hometown. She doesn't want to go to work and does not want to hire a babysitter. The father of the child is still in the picture and offered to take my niece in. My sister refused and said she didn't want to be separated from her child. Without ever asking me, my parents and sister decided that my sister and niece would move in with me and I would cover all costs on my own. She is already enrolled in class. They also decided she and her kid would move into my bedroom and I would sleep on the couch. I was also supposed to watch my niece. I said no. My apartment is really small, and even though I am well off, I can't comfortably support my sister and niece financially. My parents, grandparents, and other relatives all called me and screamed at me for not supporting my sister and niece. My sister is already enrolled in class. Canceling would cost a lot of money. My parents want me to pay it since I am the reason she can't attend classes. Since then, I muted my phone and cut off all contact from my family. I talked with my friends and they all called me the idiot for not supporting my sister. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and also, what the hell is wrong with your family and friends? If your family thinks this is a great idea, how about they pay for her apartment and babysitter? Why should you at 25 have to shoulder that cost? Unless they're paying for your rent and utilities, they're raging idiot. Ignore them, and if they have spare keys, either take them back or change the locks. They sound crazy enough to get into your apartment while you're gone. Not the idiot. They should ask you before taking any decisions. Plus, as a sister, I couldn't be financially supported by my brother, even without a child involved, even if he's happy to do it. I think it is so selfish, and often parents use children to get advantage of things because they think it is a right when they chose to have the child, they just don't find them by the door one day. It is so unfair. I hate when people are so selfish. I understand you could feel manipulated by your sister losing money, but you need to find what it is better for you before taking any decision. Not the idiot. Don't give in to this. It's great that she wants to pursue an education, but you are neither her father nor her husband. They probably think this is a great way to get rid of being responsible for her. Stick to your guns, because you will end up raising the child and being financially bled dry from the sound of it. I can't believe they expect you to sleep on the couch in your own home. Does anyone in the family have a spare key? Does maintenance have keys? It might be worth talking to them and telling them not to let anyone into your apartment at all. My 35 first husband John died very suddenly 6 years ago. We were together for 8 and happily married for 4. We never had children. 3 years after his death, I met my current husband, Ned, and we hit it off immediately. We got married last year and everything has been great, save for one recurring argument. Ned hates that I still have sentimental items from my first marriage. I've tried to be sensitive to his feelings because I don't want him to think that I settled for him because John died. I don't want to make him feel like I want him to compete or that I'm measuring his worth using John as a yardstick. Ever since the first time he expressed his discomfort with this, I do not bring John up to him and I keep the things out of sight. I keep my wedding photos, other photos, wedding tape, home videos, gifts from John, and his old record collection in 2 large chests in the basement. The rest of his things I gave away to his brother and nephews. I have looked at them maybe thrice in the last 2 years, and usually at his family's request. I don't want to throw them out or give them away because they signify an important part of my life, even if I'm in love with another man now. I am still very close with John's family. Every year, on John's birthday, we have a family reunion where we remember him. We eat, drink, tell funny stories, laugh at his most unflattering photos, watch home videos including mine, play his favorite songs, and generally have a good time. It hasn't been a sad affair for at least 3 years now. John's family are very welcoming and have expressed interest in meeting Ned. He declined because he felt uncomfortable. I understand why, but they are also my family. He doesn't want to attend family events like the reunion, birthdays, or weddings, and I never force him, even though it does hurt my feelings that he wants to shut out my whole family. Yesterday, he found some old books of John's that I'd forgotten to remove from our library and accused me of leaving them there to spite him instead of putting them in the basement, said that I don't love him and that he knows I wish John were still alive. I told him that I do love him and that he was being unfair because I can't very well say I'm glad he's dead. He told me that if I want to prove that I love him, I should throw out all my mementos because John and I never had kids to pass them on to, and that I can go to family things except a birthday celebration. I have tried to explain that I can't simply forget 8 years of my life and that it's unfair for him to expect me to say that I'm glad I was widowed, but he refuses to speak to me until I do what he wants. I'm extremely hurt and I feel like I'm not being unreasonable, but now I'm wondering if maybe I am the idiot. My husband is upset because I kept some sentimental items from my marriage to my first husband who died. He wants me to throw out all the items, but I don't. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. My boyfriend is a widower. I couldn't begin to tell you the amount of stuff around that's from his wife. The idea of telling him to get rid of it makes me feel kinda sick. Granted, they were together for 33 years, so there's a lot of stuff and 2 adult children involved, but 1 year or 100, that's a person they chose to be with and didn't choose to end things with. That's a huge piece of your heart he's trying to make you just toss away. He sounds heartless and cruel, and normally I don't jump straight to leave him, but how do you overcome someone being salty and jealous of a dead person? At least try and get into marriage counseling. BC, he sounds awful. Not the idiot. At first glance, neither of you are. You never fell out of love with your late husband, he was snatched from you, it's fair to be somewhat still attached and has mementos, etc. However, it can't be easy being second choice, and I imagine there are many people who wouldn't be able to deal with that, myself included. But, he crossed a line into an idiot by asking you to get rid of your stuff, etc. to prove your love. If he can't cope with being with someone with a late husband, he should find someone who doesn't have one. Not the idiot. This is a huge red flag, leave him. My aunt married her second husband 4 years after her first husband died. 2 days after their wedding, while she was at work, her new husband threw out all her old photos from her first wedding and every other keepsake of her first husband, claiming he was jealous of how he still was a part of her life. This was 17 years ago and they got divorced last year after a long separation. She wishes she would have left him right there. This jealousy wasn't just limited to a dead man, but was extended towards others, and he was controlling and made her miserable. There's no nice way to word that in the title is misleading, but there's a story behind this. So my stepkids are 6 and 8. They've been in school for 3 plus 2 years respectively. My husband and her used to do parent-teacher interviews together, however, in every single one she'd speak over him when he had questions about the kids' learning, how to help them at home, etc., and tell him he's dumb, he's dyslexic, but he doesn't want his kids to go the same way, and it got to the point where he was ashamed to go in and ask questions. I ended up scheduling my husband and I our own interview times away from his ex, which the school also agreed with and encouraged as they too felt each parent could speak more freely without the other there. Now to today. The kids have interviews this week. I booked them 4 weeks ago, when the slots opened up. It's been in every newsletter for the last month. Today his ex tells us she hasn't booked interviews and is demanding to come to ours. We've said no, and she's pushing it, saying that I, as their stepmother, have less of a right to be there than she does. Which I'm not arguing with, I know she's their mother and I'm not. But there are still slots open, albeit not within an hour of each other, but again, she's known for a month and didn't book and is still refusing to book. Husband considered for a brief moment letting her join us, but I stopped him and reminded him why we have our own separate interviews from her. Am I the idiot for not allowing her to join our interview time with the teachers? She's very high conflict and has gotten worse since she found out husband and I are expecting another baby. Husband is pretty forgetful, but to his credit, with the school's help, he's got regular email contact with both teachers and the principal, and they mail any and all information out to us, so he's never out of the loop. Even if I wasn't here, he'd still know what was happening and when. He just gets me to book appointments and interviews because I'm more organized than he is. Not the idiot. But it does seem that you are taking responsibility for something your husband should handle. Your husband should tell her that he wants to talk to the teachers separately from her and that she is free to book her own slot. She is clearly manipulating and doing some silly power move. Time for your husband to stand his ground and get rid of any misunderstanding. She is, or will, probably guilt-tripping him, but it's her own damn fault that she failed to book an interview. Not the idiot, she is a no, you don't have to communicate with her at all regarding this or anything else. Your dear husband has to deal with her, it's his ex, and he has to develop a spine on his own, you can't parent for him. You being this involved is going to, rightfully or wrong, antagonize her and you don't want that. Keep the teacher interviews, and if she shows up, remind the teacher that it's your time not her, and this is just how it is as a divorced family. They understand and will usually accommodate you,